BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
All right, we're back, folks. So we got UFC at the Sphere this weekend, UFC 306. Absolute stacked card. Before we start, I apologize for last week. I was in Vegas, so I couldn't do the video for the Gilbert Burns, Sean Brady, but I got a little surprise here. Brought in my good friend Brando. He's gonna help me out with the picks this weekend and just give you a different insight and perspective on things, because he's hardcore MMA fan as well. So I'm excited, man. How you doing, brother?
Hey, right on, buddy. I'm really good. Thanks for inviting me on. Appreciate you. I'm just here to have a different perspective on a few different things that we're gonna be looking at, and hope you guys enjoy it.
So the main event, Sean O'Malley taking on Merab Dvalishvili.
It's a big fight.
That's a really big fight for that division, and just completely different styles. These guys are complete opposite fighters. And I talked to a few guys, like experts, so to say, and they really have the same thing, how it's going to end up. It's either Merab's just going to out-wrestle him for 5 rounds, or Sean's going to get lucky and catch him slipping on the way in the first 1 or 2 rounds.
These are my thoughts on this fight, right? This fight is going to come down to distance management, in my opinion, right? O'Malley wants to stick on the outside and pick apart Merab with counter strikes and big strikes, whereas Merab wants to get on the inside and make it a dirtier fight, right? He wants to make it a dirty fight. He wants to get into the clinch. He wants to start working those single legs, those double legs, get O'Malley on the ground and neutralize some of those big weapons that O'Malley possesses, right? Because let's not kid ourselves. O'Malley is a serious threat in that division. He's very big, he's very lean, he's very fast. And his counter-punching is super, super crisp. So I'm really excited to watch this fight. This is a fight that I am really getting up for. Like, I really would like to see this fight go, 4 or 5 rounds maybe. I don't think it will. I think maybe Sean O'Malley might solve the puzzle that is Merab Dvalishvili in a couple rounds. But I'd like to watch it for 20, 25 minutes. I think it's going to be a very interesting chess match between these two guys. And this one has the chance for fireworks. It really does.
No, I like it. I think if this fight does go 20, 25-minute rounds, it's going to be a bad night for Sean O'Malley. That's what I think. And so let's go with the picks. Who are you taking on this one?
Well, you see, the thing is, I've been a Sean O'Malley fan for a long time. I've been a fan of Sean O'Malley since he was on Dana White Contender Series, when he had that showing where Snoop Dogg was doing the commentary. And at that moment, for me, in my mind, a star was born. I seen the potential for this guy, that if he continued on the right path, continued training the proper way, that I seen this guy have a future. And it's nice to see that somebody who earlier on I picked as like somebody who I felt like was going places, to watch them go places. Now he has the belt. He beat Aljo, knocked out Aljo, So I'm a fan of O'Malley, and I'm not really a fan of Merab. So my money is going to be on O'Malley here. O'Malley's my pick for this one, and I'm going to say KO within 2. I think he's going to finish him with 2. He's going to solve the puzzle within 2 rounds, but I'd still like to see it go 4 or 5.
Yeah, so I know you are a Sean O'Malley fan. I'm not a Sean O'Malley fan.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been starting to become a Sean O'Malley fan, but I do believe Sean O'Malley is probably the hardest hitter ever at 135. Obviously, maybe John Lineker, take him out of that.
He's a nut. Lineker is a nut. Yeah.
Especially if you've seen him fight that ONE FC card the other day. That boy hits hard. But Sean O'Malley's a sniper.
He is.
He's an absolute sniper. And I think he might be maybe in the UFC top 5 strikers in MMA, in the UFC as right now.
And a lot of it boils down to his distance management, right? He's in the right space for his body frame to inflict maximum damage with his counters, right? And that's where he's so good at. He's so good at putting himself in the range that he needs to be in for him to have the upper hand in the exchanging, right? And Merab is a smaller body for this weight division, right? He's got shorter arms, got shorter legs, a shorter body. So Merab's going to have to work really hard to get on the inside and try and dominate O'Malley.
I think he's going to really have to lunge in because against the Cejudo, he doesn't have the reach of O'Malley. So he can get inside easier. With O'Malley, you're really going to have to lunge in, and that's when you're really going to put yourself in danger. And Merab, he does have issues getting hit. You've seen it with Henry Cejudo. You've seen it with Marlon Moraes. They had him on skates, and I'm telling you right now, if O'Malley hits him, he hits a lot harder than both those guys.
Yeah, and you know, something that Merab doesn't have working for him that is huge is the element of surprise, right? Like O'Malley can hit you with so many different things and surprise you in so many different ways, whereas Merab is kind of like, you know what Merab is coming in there to do, right? He's going to come in there, he's going to try and pitbull his way in close, he's going to try and get the takedown, he's going to try and hold him down, tire him out, maybe submit him, maybe ground and pound him, right? But O'Malley is fully aware that that's the game plan, right? So they've had an entire camp, an entire championship camp to go 5 rounds against the guy who's going to go in there and just try and take you down, right? So I feel like, you know, he's going to be prepared for that. He's going to be prepared for it. Now it's whether or not he can execute on the night. That's what it's going to be up to, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, O'Malley's one of the best strikers in MMA. I would put obviously Poatan number 1.
Yeah,
O'Malley I'd put somewhere in there in that top 5, top 10, right?
Yeah, I think he's leaning more towards the number 5 spot in there, but he's definitely on the top 5.
He's in there, but I put Merab maybe the best wrestler in MMA. Maybe not on paper. Obviously, on paper, you're saying Henry Cejudo, Olympic gold medalist.
Yes.
But clearly, we've seen who's better in those wrestling exchanges in mixed martial arts.
As far as wrestling for MMA goes, Merab has it dialed in, right? He's got it dialed in. He's been practicing with Aljo. He's got a really good team over there. He's affiliated with Sarah BJJ and those guys. And those guys are no joke, right? So he's training hard. He's guaranteed trying to implement his strengths in this fight, right? Like he's not going to go in there and start striking and try and knock out O'Malley. You know, he's going to go in there. He's going to tailor make an entire fight camp to the fact that he wants to wrestle him and get him to the ground, right? So it's going to be a battle of wills, right? Is Merab's will to take O'Malley down greater than O'Malley's will to not get taken down, right? That's going to be the deciding factor that we're going to have to see on the night.
And your thoughts on the cut? Because Merab did have a cut over the eye, which is obviously going to take away. If you have a cut over the eye like that, you cannot spar, wrestle for about a week or 2, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's an issue, right? Because even if it's healed and closed, it still might be not 100% healed, right? And it only takes one shot there on a compromised section of your eye there to end the fight. We've seen the fights ended multiple times with the referee stepping in and stopping it due to this and that, right? Like I think when I think about cuts and stoppages of fights, I think about the Diaz brothers, right? All that scar tissue they have on the eyes that keeps getting reopened up when they're in these fights, right? And I think that could be a point of interest for O'Malley, right? I think O'Malley is going to know, or he does know, that this has taken place. So he's probably got a little bit of a bullseye coming after that eye, right? So that's just one more thing that is leaning towards O'Malley in the fight, right? And especially too, like not to mention, like when you take a cut over the eye and you got to go in and get it stitched up and cut it out, it does something to your confidence as well too, as well as not being able to spar or train at 100%, right? So.
And Merab's one of those guys, he's one of the only guys in MMA who I know who actually trains hard a day or 2 even before the fight. Even on the Thursday, Friday leading up to the fight, this guy's sparring. Yeah. He's wrestling hard. I've never seen that from most guys. Most guys are resting on those days. This guy's training hard. Even the week of the fight, it's crazy, but he does have a different level gas tank. His wrestling is different. I do feel he's going to come in lunging in that first round, and he's just going to get hit by one of those O'Malley bombs, and it's going to be lights out for Merab. That's what I think.
That could be a very harsh reality, right? Like I said, we're going to have to see on the night, but that's how I envision it going down, right? I envision him not being comfortable with the distance, going for a little bit of a sloppier shot. Maybe O'Malley backs out from it, so it looks sloppy, but I just feel like he's going to go in for a bit of a lazier attempt, because he's going to want to take it to the ground so desperately. And I think O'Malley's going to be ready, and he's going to be ready with some counters, I think.
I love it. So that's your pick. We both got O'Malley to win.
Yeah.
Even odds as of right now. Dead even last time I checked.
That's amazing.
My betting.
That actually surprises
That's crazy.
me. Yeah,
that's crazy for me.
So that's actually a pretty solid bet then, right? On even odds, you're looking I'm feeling pretty confident on the O'Malley win, and then the odds are backing you as well too. So that's not too bad.
Yeah, so UFC Noche, we got an American fighting a Georgian. I thought this was a shutout for the Mexicans, but they don't really have too many high-profile Mexicans on the card. I would say like the Yair Rodriguez's, the Brandon Morenos aren't really there, and you would think that maybe, it just didn't work out timing-wise, right? But in the co-main, we got Alexa Grasso taking on Shevchenko, the third match, the rubber match. So the first one, Alexa Grasso took her back, choked her out in the fourth. The last fight, it was a split draw. I thought Shevchenko won.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I did think Shevchenko won the last fight. And, this one's going to be a battle of wills too, right? This is the third time that they're meeting, so they're pretty familiar with each other, right? They fought each other a couple times. One to a loss for Valentina, and like he said, one to a split draw. But, this one has the potential to be exciting as well too. Valentina, very dynamic, very strong ground game, right? She's got a very educated stand-up system, very dangerous, right? Very, very dangerous. And Alexa Grasso just has a lot of heart. She's got a lot of heart, and she goes out there and she gets it done, especially against somebody big like Valentina Shevchenko, who was dominating the division before that, right? So this has the potential to be a pretty interesting fight.
I agree. I think what Valentina shows up, she's 36 years old. She's not the same fighter I would say she was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Right? She doesn't have, I think she's just so famous in Kyrgyzstan, where she's from. She's doing media, she's doing shows. She's very distracted, where Alexa Grasso is just literally tunnel vision on becoming the best. And Shevchenko's already been the best for so long.
Yeah.
So I think truly, if she wins the belt back, it doesn't do much for her other than she's champ again. But realistically, she's already very successful, right? She's already had such a great run. Who are you taking on this one?
Myself personally, I like Valentina Shevchenko in this fight. Mm-hmm. I think the fact that she lost, I think ate her up a bit. She came back in the second fight, and I agree with Nav. I thought that she won that fight in the split draw. And I think she's going to carry over that same momentum that she had success with in the second fight, and she's going to bring it into the third. Now, that's not to say that Alexa Grasso is not going to be aware that Shevchenko is going to probably try and do the things that were working for her in the second fight. But I just think, the hungrier fighter, I think, is Alexa Grasso. I think she's hungrier, exactly like Nav said. Shevchenko's been the champ for a while. She has the money now. The money is not, she's not fighting for her livelihood anymore, right? She's kind of set in life. And Alexa Grasso is kind of I feel like not quite on that same level of, fame or stardom or money, right? So I feel like she's a bit hungrier, but I still do lean towards Shevchenko in this fight.
Yeah, so I'm thinking this fight's going the distance. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a close fight, like the other few have been, right? They've all been close fights. I have a feeling it's going to go the distance, and UFC Noche Mexico, I think they're going to lean towards giving it to the Mexican.
100%, right?
Especially on, Mexican, just like Mexican Day, right? Mexican Independence Day or whatever it is. So I'm going with Grasso by decision.
Nice.
I have a feeling it's going to be a close one. It can literally just go either way, but I have a feeling they're going to lean towards the Mexican.
I didn't take that into account when I first looked at it about the reffing and where they're going to be, and that makes a lot of sense, right? With the Mexican champion, right? And they're fighting in Mexico.
No, they're fighting. It's at the Sphere, but it's UFC Noche, right? It's at the Sphere.
So it's like a Mexican event.
Yes.
Got you. Okay, right. So that could change things, right? And I you know what? I think maybe Valentina might get it done by sub this time.
Wow. So get that win by sub back, because she lost by sub the first fight.
Yeah.
And the next one, this is, in my opinion, fight of the night here.
This is, like I said, I'm a huge O'Malley fan, and I'm just as excited to watch this fight as I am to watch the O'Malley fight, which is very rare for me. Because usually it's one blockbuster fight that I really get up for, and the rest of them are kind of like a bonus, right?
Yeah.
But there is two huge fights, right? This fight is monster, right? Number 3 in the division, Brian Ortega, versus number 12 in the division, Diogo Lopes, right? Both absolute bulls, both going out there, have something to prove, right? Both guys still relatively in the prime of their careers here, and this one should be amazing.
I like this fight. If it wasn't for Diego Lopez's last performance against Dan Ige, I would be all on Diego Lopez in this one. I think Dan Ige either exploited some holes in Diego Lopez's game, or maybe just Diego Lopez seemed a little off in that last fight. I know he had a few opponent switches, had to make weight adjust a few different times. It was a weird situation, right? He had a few different pullouts there. Dan Ige actually took the fight on 3 hours notice or something. It was something crazy like that. But in my opinion, he's fighting his toughest opponent in Brian Ortega. And someone who I don't think he's going to be able to use his jiu-jitsu against the Brian Ortega. I think that their jiu-jitsu is really going to be able to cancel each other out.
Yeah, and you know, when I think of jiu-jitsu being canceled out and a couple of really specialized ground guys standing up and banging, right? I can't help but have this relativity bias, right? Where I'm thinking about, okay, Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway. That's what I'm thinking, right? And then I think to myself, is the same Brian Ortega going to show up in the stand-up against Lopez, right? Or did he use that Max Holloway fight as a bit of a motivation to sort of tighten up his boxing, sort of tighten up his striking, bring it to another level on par with his jiu-jitsu, right? And that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. I'm leaning towards hoping that he has done that and he's going to be looking really sharp, because Diego Lopez is a problem, right? Diego Lopez is a serious problem, and he's going to be a tough nut to crack, right?
No, 100%. So the odds currently, last time I checked, it was minus 170 for Lopez, plus 140 for Ortega.
Mm-hmm. So
so slight underdog for Brian Ortega. $100 wins you about 140. So not a big underdog, you know, but also not a big favorite in Diego Lopez as well. Who do you got taking this one?
Well, that kind of surprises me that Ortega is the sort of underdog in this situation, right? Because when I think about Ortega and I think about how he, you know, manifests wins in the division, he's sort of a bit of a scramble king, right? Where he gets himself into these kind of scrambles and then he always kind of finds a way to put something tight on people, right? Submission-wise. So I definitely give the craftiness edge to Ortega, right? Where I give, you know, the youth and the sort of the striking prowess to Diego Lopez. I think he's going to be more dynamic in the cage than Brian Ortega is. But I am going to be taking Brian Ortega in this fight, and I'm going to be taking him in this fight because I believe there's going to be scrambles. Because the two guys who are not super stand-up heavy are going to be standing up. So there's going to be areas where it's not coming out perfect, right? And when it's not coming out perfect, I think Brian Ortega is going to have the problem-solving skills to get it into a spot in this fight where he can put something on him and catch Lopez off guard. That's how I think it's going down. I think I got Brian Ortega by submission, third round.
That's a great one. I don't know if he's going to be submitting Lopez just because how good Lopez's jiu-jitsu is. They're good. Very good on the ground.
Yeah.
But the thing that really is the difference maker, I believe, in this matchup is the experience. Brian Ortega has been there with Holloway. He's fought the Volkanovskis. He's fought the Yair Rodriguez's. He's been in there with those top guys, where Diego Lopez, his best opponent is, I would say, Dan Ige. Mm-hmm. Right? So he hasn't really fought those top guys, and I think that's going to be the difference maker, and that's why I'm going to go with Brian Ortega. T-City, do I think he's going to get the submission? It's going to be tough to submit a guy like Diego Lopez. I mean, you're going to have to hurt him first.
Yep.
But I do believe Brian Ortega might be the better striker out of the two. More technical. Diego Lopez is a little wild. He
definitely more dynamic.
Yeah,
definitely
he's more dynamic. He's got the power advantage, I would say.
Yeah.
But Ortega's crisp, man. He's got some crisp boxing.
Yeah.
And this one's going to be a banger.
I
wish it was 5 rounds, to be honest, because I feel like it's going to go 3.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, this is going to be my pick for fight of the night. I think this is going to be the most fun to watch, in my personal opinion. I think this is going to be the funnest fight to watch. So definitely don't miss this one. This is going to be a must-see event, okay, guys? So if you take anything from this, you got to watch this fight. This fight is going to be a banger.
Oh, no, I love it. This is a great card, man. You know, shout out to the Mexicans on this card.
Yeah, Noche, right?
This is UFC Noche. You know, who's the greatest Mexican mixed martial artist off the top of your head?
I'm thinking Kane, right? When you ask me that, I think immediately I'm going to Kane. Like, there's a few other ones that are also extremely dynamic, but myself personally, I remember watching UFC 100 where it was Cain Velasquez versus Brock Lesnar, and it was just, you know, the excitement was through the roof. And like, so when I hear Mexican fighters, I'm thinking Cain Velasquez. That's my pick. Who do you got?
I think Kane is definitely number one.
Yeah.
I would say number two, maybe a Brandon Moreno because he's been champ.
One of my favorites, right?
Dominic Cruz. Not many people know, but he's actually of Mexican descent. So maybe, you know, he's been a champ for a while.
There you go. You learn something new every day. That was news to me. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right on.
But yeah, those are your picks for UFC 306. We got some money to make this weekend.
Yeah, right on, boys. I'm excited for it. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate
Anytime,
you,
brother.
Nav. Yeah, awesome.
All right.
It's been a blast.